Hello everyone and welcome back to The Forge. Today we're going to be taking a look at these two grinders right here. Now, as most of you know from watching the channel, this channel as well as my older channel, this has been my workhorse right here. When I first started out doing knife making, I used a Grizzly grinder, and I upgraded to this Oregon blade maker with a VFD drive, and it's been what I've used for the past year or 2 years. And I've made swords with it. I've made a ton of knives with it, and there's nothing really wrong with it. It does the job, and for the price, it's got a pretty big bang for the buck. It's not perfect by no means. There are a few things that I would have liked to have been different on it. First and foremost, this platen is not very big, and it makes it difficult for flat grinding. If you just want to lay something against it, you know, this long, it's not a very big platen. But like I said, I've made everything from swords, regular knives, spike knives. I've cleaned up Damascus. Y'all have seen a lot of this stuff. And I recently replaced it with this one right here, the one that y'all saw when I first started talking. This is a Broadbeck Ironworks. I got this grinder for $999. There was no shipping. It was already covered. It was fantastic. Came priority mail. They packed it really well, double packed the boxes, extra padding. Got here with no problem. The fact that shipping was covered was fantastic. It wasn't covered on this one. So the base price of this chassis right here, I believe, from Oregon Blade Maker is like $749, which is cheaper than this one. But you do have to pay for shipping, and this one does not turn horizontal like the Broadbeck Ironworks does. That, coupled with a few other things, this is just a much better grinder. But that being said, this one over here done its job. Now, as for the new one here, there's a whole plethora of things that I really like about it. First and foremost, it does tilt. You turn the knob right here. Quick turn, and this grinder will tilt right over flat. And you can take this work table right here with a quick twist, loosen it off, slide it out, and adjust it to wherever you need it. I really like this. You can simply move it, twisting this right here, sliding this off, bring it to this side, slide it on, adjust it into place. And there you go. And as you can see, you've got a nice large work table that you can do a lot of different things on. This would have saved me so much headache in the past, having a setup like this, doing the spines of the knives, cleaning them up, versus trying to just hold it and get it right. I got it figured out to where I could do it freehand pretty dang good, but this would have been a whole lot quicker, a whole lot more efficient. It also has the notch right here on this table for the small wheel attachment. As you can see right here. We just basically would turn that around, put our small wheel attachment on, we'd be good to go. Now, one of the questions, just like I had, I figured that y'all might have as well, is speaking of small wheel attachments and our old grinders, does the parts from things like this Oregon Blade Maker, will they work on this? And the answer is yes, they will. Let's go ahead and stand this back up. Okay, let's go ahead and take this out of here. Alright, and I have this small wheel set that came with my Oregon Blade Maker, and I was concerned that it might not work with this, which a standard tooling arm, you think it would with no problem. Sometimes I worry about things more than I should, but better safe than sorry. So let's go ahead and put this in here, and I'll show you. Slides right in, fit it right up. And just like that, no problem. Works just fine. And that put my mind at ease and means that I can use the parts off my other grinder on this one as well. And the tilt feature works the same way for this as it does for the standard platen. I left it loose so we could tilt it. tilt it over. There we go. Let's go ahead and bring this over here. And this is where that notch and that work table comes into play. Loosen this off. Really, really fantastic design here on the work wrist. It allows so much freedom and flexibility that it's just crazy. And there you go. Now, one thing I made mention of is just how stable this grinder is in comparison to my other one. Now, this is just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood on top of this workbench here. This grinder is just held down with 3.5 inch drywall screws with thick spacers. Pretty stable, but as you can see, things kind of move around. And on my other grinder, the vibration would be so bad at some points that it would cause trouble with my work. And so that's never a good thing. Vibration's never a good thing when you're trying to be precise in what you're doing. Now, I have a very large project that those of you that follow me on Instagram have been watching me work on, and I'm just going to use it to demonstrate just how stable this grinder actually is. There's just so much more control that it's ridiculous. That coupled with this larger work table, if you look at my old grinder, that stability that this Broadbeck Ironworks grinder offers with this larger work table in comparison to something like my Origin Blade Maker had here, as you can tell, this table is extremely small. And it made doing things like larger swords or larger knives difficult. If you was going to grind with a bevel jig, it's completely impossible on there unless you're going to grind a really, really tiny knife. This one right over here on the Broadbeck Ironworks grinder actually gives you enough workspace with the flexibility of being able to flip this around that you can really get some work done. It's still so nice to be able just to slide this off and pop it in on this side and be ready to go. Definitely will improve my workflow. But I loved my Oregon Blade Maker. It was more than good enough, but for the price of this one with the tilting feature, the motor off of my old Oregon Blade Maker bolted directly to it with no problem at all. So I didn't have to buy a new motor or anything. It was definitely a fantastic upgrade for the shop. They come in raw steel. They're not painted. You have to paint them yourself. I just picked blue and black. I like those two colors. But so far so good. I haven't really got to put this thing through the mill yet. I will be soon on some knives I've got to get done. Very happy with it so far. If any of you watching this video are from around where I live in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma, Tallahassee, Oklahoma, that area, I will be selling this Oregon Blade Maker model. I will be putting it up for sale. I no longer need it in the shop. This one grinder is more than good enough now, especially with the tilting feature. And I just don't have room for this one. So it will be going up for sale. It will not have a motor, but you can get a single speed motor fairly cheap, $200 or $300 and slap on it, and be just fine. This setup does make a big difference over a 1x30 or a Grizzly like I first started with. But with that being said, run over to Instagram and check me out if you get a chance. You do get to see things like this right here. For those of you that may not know, this is a Zweihander that I'm currently working on. Yeah, it is a monster. I've still got to grind these right here down, these hooks that are on it. Still got to grind these hooks down. You can see where I've marked for them to be at. And then I'll come in here and I'll bevel in here at the top. Got to leather wrap this, of course. Always wanted one of these. They're next to impossible to buy from like a reproduction place or something like that. So I figured, why not make my own? It'll be a monster for sure. Time it's all said and done, I believe it's supposed to stand right at 80 inches. So yeah, it's gonna be a beast for sure. But a lot of fun to work on. But with that being said, there's probably some things I missed on this grinder talking about it, but you get the gist of it. I mean, this grinder is a great investment piece. If you have the extra money or are looking into getting one, the bang for the buck that this one offers is off the charts. I mean, compared to like a TW90, which has a tilting feature, you can get their whole setup for like $4,000 or so. But I mean, that's a lot of money for someone just getting into knife making, blade smithing. And so, I mean, this is a really good starting point. In comparison with that one over there, that one's not bad. But if you have access to a single speed motor already, you can't beat this. I think with the VFD, this Oregon Blade Maker one cost me right around, with the VFD and the small wheel attachment, $1,600. And I mean, like I said, this one was $999. Everything that I used on the Oregon Blade Maker, like the small wheel attachment, works great on this one as well. So yeah, definitely a good investment piece. Go check them out. With that being said, I appreciate you for joining us for this quick little video. If you would, hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell for notifications to see our newest content as it comes out. I appreciate you watching. You have a good one. And as always, take care. We'll catch you next one. Bye-bye.